Very, very cool. I actually was watching this. I didn't actually prepare that much for the show today, guys. I was watching.
I heard it from your office listening to this film.
It's pretty mesmerizing. It's a very special film. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time on Showtime, you'll be able to see "Running for His Life," the Lawrence Phillips story. And right now, the executive producer of the film, Armen, joining us from Showtime. One of my favorite sports reporters, actually, because when he starts talking about something, I just feel like it's an important story. So, Armen, what was it about the Lawrence Phillips story that drew you to this film?
Well, I guess what drew me to the film, guys, was Ross Greenberg, who is one of the other executive producers and was really the visionary, behind the film. He was my boss at Real Sports for 10 years as the former president of HBO Sports and was the originator of the great Sports of the 20th Century HBO docs that I happened to do one way back when. So Ross came to me with the idea. Initially, I liked it because I knew enough about Lawrence where I was curious as to, what had happened with his death in the prison cell in January of this year. And then Lars Anderson, who is one of the co-writers on the film with myself and a guy by the name of Albriganti, Lars wrote a hell of a piece in Bleacher Report on Lawrence and the last years of his life. That was, as you used the word, mesmerizing for me, and that really sort of lit the fuse for all of us. And that happened we spent about the last 6 months working pretty hard at putting this documentary together, but it was Ross's vision, and then Lars's piece in Bleacher, and then I got brought in pretty early, and I brought Lars in, and I brought Albriganti in, and it turned out to be just a wonderful collaboration between a lot of really talented people.
And with all that time and effort going into this documentary, when you're doing your research for the story about Lawrence Phillips, was there some information initially that just caught you so off guard that you didn't even realize this? And this is an NFL college football star that someone follows sports like you that I didn't even know this about Lawrence Phillips while you're doing your research.
No question.
Yeah.
I think Lawrence's background, growing up, being abandoned by his father, who left the family in Arkansas when Lawrence was only 3 years old, and then the mother moves him to Los Angeles during the height of the Crips and the Blood gang wars in L.A. in the late 80s and early 90s. And I really had no idea about Lawrence's early life, and the fact that he never went to fifth grade, the fact that he was, verbally, emotionally, and physically abused by one string of bad news boyfriends that her mother had brought into the house, including, this one description of a guy holding Lawrence down and urinating on him in the house. The fact that he never went to fifth grade. And then culminating it, his life in those group homes, the foster homes, the McLaren Hall in Los Angeles, which was a house of horrors for young kids, 300 kids packed into that house, and then the foster homes. So really Lawrence's life leading up to Nebraska, I really wasn't aware of. And then when you get to Nebraska and what unfolded there, and then you go to the St. Louis Rams and Dick Vermeil, I learned a lot, and that was kind of the beauty of this documentary. And I think what makes the film different, guys, is my career has been based on reporting, and the reporting in this film is so good, and it's straight down the middle. We're not trying to tell you anything other than what we found and letting the audience figure it out. But it's really not so much about what happened to Lawrence, though that's fascinating. It's really more about why it happened, and that's where you go back in time to his life in Los Angeles.
Armen with us right now on 104.5 The Team. Big documentary about Lawrence Phillips, Running for His Life, 9 o'clock tomorrow on Showtime. Armen, as I'm watching this, I'm changing the way I feel about Lawrence Phillips. Like I begin to soften on him and almost kind of like him, even though of his issues. Is that something, as you're putting it together, you keep in mind, like we're going to soften your feeling of this, or does that just happen over the course of putting it together?
I think it's the result of the storytelling, because there is a sadness in the tragedy to Lawrence's life, because another thing, I had no idea that he tested as gifted in the 8th grade.
Right.
That he was not the default thug that everybody points to during these strings of domestic violence cases, that he was actually a very intelligent kid that just could never outrun the demons in his life. And that's the theme of the documentary, really, is Lawrence being chased by these demons that started in his childhood and manifest themselves in an incredibly horrific, violent attitude at times towards women. So you're torn between the sympathy that you feel for Lawrence because of now you understand where he came from, and the horror you feel and the anger you feel over his treatment of women. So there's a lot of things going on here, and I think that's what makes this film so different and so interesting is that it's not just a story about Lawrence Phillips. It's a story about kids that come out of foster homes, and it's also, there's a very powerful message in there about domestic violence and domestic abuse.
There's also, for me, almost a sense of frustration because Lawrence Phillips is given so many second chances, even after his mistakes, by different outlets, and he still isn't able to almost figure it out. Why do you believe he was given so many second chances by different people?
Well, that's a good question. I think, you look at the two men that really gave him the most chances. One, obviously, Tom Osborne. The other, Dick Vermeil. I had a very different opinion of Tom Osborne's decision to only suspend Lawrence for 6 games after this infamous Kate McEwen assault, the first real time that Lawrence hit the national news and dragging Kate down 3 flights of stairs. And I think after listening to Tom in this documentary, I have a much better understanding of the thought process and his reasoning behind that decision. And I think it becomes a much more measured and understandable response by Coach Osborne. And then Dick Vermeil, not only bringing him in and trying to help him in St. Louis, but then making phone calls to Jimmy Johnson and Bill Walsh to try to get Lawrence, second and third chances. So some of it is that Lawrence is a very appealing person in a lot of ways, and obviously a tremendous football player. That's another thing that comes out of this film and that opened my eyes. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this good, and that he was on a level of like a Hall of Fame kind of running back. And I think part of that was that, but I think part of it was that people really liked Lawrence, and they were trying to take and help a man with that much talent, stay in the league, which today, guys, never would happen. I mean, you'd have one of those domestic violence incidents and you'd be out of the league. That wasn't the case back, in the middle 90s.
Armen Keteyian with us right now, 104.5, the team among, his time with 60 Minutes and everything else. And that was Showtime, executive producer of Running for His Life, the Lawrence Phillips story. So a 90-minute film, and it truly compelling. I really recommend that everybody watch it. Is there something that, as you guys are putting it together, that you had to leave out that you wish you could have left in?
Oh man, I when you write one of these things, you're worried that you're going too long, that you're not going to fit into 90 minutes. And this actually, when I wrote a lot of it, and Lars and I really collaborated a lot on this. When I turned in, when we turned it in and it was actually edited, and I said to Al Bergani, who was really the day-to-day producer of this, I said, Al, how long is it? He goes, you're not going to believe it. It's like 85 minutes. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. We hit the mark? And I thought we were going to be long. So I guess the answer is not really. I think everything that we could get, including everything that we could figure out what happened in Kern County Prison and the circumstances around the murder that Lawrence committed inside that prison and his own suicide in January of this year. If we had more, we might have gone longer. But I think 90 minutes serves this story very, very well.
Armen, let's go on this. What are you hoping the viewers on this film tomorrow night take away about Lawrence Phillips?
Well, I hope they take away a certain amount of sadness and a certain amount of anger. And I think if people from the NFL watch it, that some legitimate change will come regarding their domestic violence education, because I don't think what they're doing right now is working. And I just saw something, Minnesota just suspended 10 players for the Holiday Bowl against Washington State over a sexual assault that happened back in September. And I said to my wife this morning, I said, I just have a hard time believing that these kids are still this dumb. And I know alcohol is involved, and I know that there's celebrity and all those other things, but it's unfathomable to me that this message is not getting through to not only athletes, but at campuses across the country. So if this documentary has anything about it, I hope it adds to the debate or adds to the desire to make some changes.
It's a really great film. Like I said, I got to watch it earlier today, and we really appreciate you taking time, Armen Keteyian, running for his life. You got to check it out, and thank you for making some time for us.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Armen, have a great day.
Bye, Tom.
Thank you. Take care.